Transient memory loss. Transient memory loss is the everyday forgetting that happens to every single brain every single day. It's not a malfunction. It's your brain doing exactly what it's designed to do. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain that encodes new memories, can only hold so much at once. So when you walk into a room and forget why you're there, or blank on a name mid-introduction, your brain isn't failing, it's filtering. Most of what happens to you in a day never gets encoded as a long-term memory at all, because your brain decided it wasn't important enough to keep. People think forgetting means something is wrong with them, but forgetting is the default. Remembering is the exception. Your brain throws away thousands of moments a day so the important ones can survive. The problem is you never notice what you forgot, you only notice the gap. And that gap feels like proof that something's broken, even when it's the opposite. It's proof your brain is working exactly as intended. Tip of the tongue phenomenon. Tip of the tongue phenomenon is the maddening feeling of knowing something without being able to say it. The word is there, somewhere, but your brain can't complete the retrieval. This happens because memory storage and memory retrieval are two separate systems, and sometimes the connection between them gets a partial signal instead of a full one. You know the first letter, you know how many syllables it has. You know exactly what it means. You just can't pull the whole thing out. People assume this means the memory is gone. It's not. It's sitting right there, fully intact, blocked by a retrieval queue that isn't strong enough yet. That's why the word suddenly surfaces an hour later in the shower when you've stopped trying. The harder you chase it, the more your brain locks up, because the effort itself becomes a competing memory that gets in the way. Stop reaching for it, and the door quietly opens on its own. Childhood amnesia. Childhood amnesia is the reason you can't remember being 2 years old, even though you definitely existed. Your hippocampus doesn't fully mature until around age 7, which means the machinery needed to store long-term memories simply isn't built yet in early childhood. You weren't there in the way you think you were. You were there physically, but your brain wasn't yet capable of filing those moments away for later. This is why your earliest memories are often reconstructed from photos and family stories rather than the events themselves. Your brain fills the gap with borrowed material and hands it to you as if you lived it firsthand. People think losing those years is sad, like something was stolen from them, but nothing was stolen. There was nothing there to lose. Your brain wasn't ready to hold on to a world you were only just beginning to understand. Deja vu and false memory. Deja vu is your brain glitching for half a second, convincing you that something brand new has already happened before. It happens when the part of your brain responsible for familiarity misfires, tagging a new experience as old before your logical brain catches up. False memory works the same way, except it doesn't fade in half a second. It sticks. Every time you recall a memory, your brain doesn't play back a recording. It rebuilds the memory from scratch, and small details shift a little more each time. You add things that make emotional sense even if they never happened. You are, quite literally, editing your own past every time you think about it. People trust their memories like they're video footage. They're not. They're more like a story you keep retelling, and every retelling changes the wording a little, until eventually you can't tell the original version from the one you built. Retrograde amnesia. Retrograde amnesia is the loss of memories that were formed before an injury or trauma, while the ability to form new ones stays intact. You wake up and the last 5 years or the last 5 minutes before the accident are simply gone. Your identity, your name, your basic personality, all of that usually survives because those are stored differently than specific events. What's missing is the timeline, the who did what and when. People imagine this as total blackness, like a movie cutting to static. It's usually not that. It's patchy, uneven, a photo album with pages torn out at random. The brain doesn't lose memory neatly. It loses it in fragments, which makes relearning your own life feel less like starting over and more like piecing together a puzzle where you're missing exactly the pieces you need most. Anterograde amnesia. Anterograde amnesia is the opposite problem. The past stays fully intact, but nothing new can be encoded going forward. You can hold a conversation, laugh at a joke, feel present in the moment, and then 5 minutes later have no memory that any of it happened. This usually comes from damage to the hippocampus itself, the encoding machine breaking down while the rest of the brain works fine. You are permanently living in whatever moment you're currently in, because the bridge from short-term to long-term memory has collapsed. People assume this means you can't learn anything at all. That's not quite true. Some kinds of learning, like physical skills, can still form without conscious memory of practicing them. But the story of your own life stops updating. Every day becomes the first day on repeat forever. Dissociative amnesia. Dissociative amnesia is memory loss with no physical injury behind it at all. The brain is intact. The memories are intact. But access to them has been shut off, usually by the mind itself, as a defense against something too overwhelming to hold on to. This isn't lying, and it isn't weakness. It's your brain making an executive decision that survival matters more than remembering. Entire chunks of your identity, sometimes your name, sometimes years of your life, can become inaccessible, walled off behind a door your own mind installed. People love to dramatize this as a movie plot twist. In reality, it's a quiet, protective shutdown, not a mystery to be solved for entertainment. The memories don't disappear. They wait, sometimes for years, sometimes forever, behind a door that only opens when the mind decides it's finally safe enough to look. Traumatic memory suppression. Traumatic memory suppression is different from full amnesia. You know something happened, you just can't, or won't, let yourself fully access the details. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, tags traumatic moments as dangerous, and your prefrontal cortex responds by keeping those memories fragmented and hard to reach on purpose. This is why trauma memories often come back not as a clear story, but as flashes, smells, sounds, a racing heart with no clear cause. Your brain isn't hiding the memory to punish you. It's trying to protect you from reliving the full weight of it all at once. People say, just talk about it, like the memory is sitting there waiting patiently to be discussed. It's not. It's scattered on purpose, and putting it back together safely usually takes more than willpower. It takes time, and often it takes real support. Alzheimer's-related memory loss. Alzheimer's-related memory loss starts quietly, with the most recent memories going first, while decades-old memories stay strangely vivid. This happens because Alzheimer's attacks the hippocampus early, the part responsible for creating new memories, while older memories have already been distributed elsewhere in the brain for long-term storage. That's why someone can forget what they ate an hour ago, but describe their wedding day in perfect detail. Over time, the damage spreads, and the erosion moves backward through the timeline of a person's life. People often think memory loss is the disease. It's actually just the first visible symptom of a much deeper, slower loss, one that eventually reaches identity itself, unraveling not just what someone remembers, but who they are able to recognize, including the people who love them most. Age-related memory decline. Age-related memory decline is the slower, less dramatic cousin of Alzheimer's, and it happens to some degree in almost everyone. As you age, the speed at which your brain encodes and retrieves information naturally slows down. Names take longer to surface. You reread the same paragraph twice. This isn't disease, it's maintenance wear on a system that's been running for decades. People panic the moment they notice this happening, assuming it's the beginning of something serious. Most of the time, it isn't. Normal aging affects the speed of memory, not the substance of it. The information is still there. It just takes an extra second to load, the same way an old computer still runs the software, just not quite as fast as the day you bought it. Blackout memory loss. Blackout memory loss happens when alcohol or certain substances shut down your hippocampus's ability to encode new memories, even while you're wide awake and functioning. You can hold a conversation, walk around, make decisions, and none of it gets saved. The next day, there's simply nothing there, not fuzzy, not fragmented, just absent because the recording never started in the first place. This is different from just forgetting a night out from being tired. Your brain was never given the chance to file any of it away. People treat blackouts like a funny story. But what actually happened is your memory system was chemically switched off, and you spent hours making real decisions that your own mind will never have any record of. Flashbulb memory. Flashbulb memory is the vivid, high-definition memory you formed during a major emotional event. The kind where you remember exactly where you were standing and what you were wearing. It feels permanent, almost like it was burned in. But flashbulb memories are actually some of the least accurate memories your brain makes. The emotional intensity convinces you the memory is perfect, while the details quietly drift and change every single time you replay it, just like every other memory you have. You'd swear on your life that your version is exact. It never is. That's the strange, unsettling truth about memory itself. The moments that feel the most permanent are often the ones being rewritten the most, and you'll never be able to tell from the inside which version of your own past you're actually holding on to. Do subscribe for more content like this.